Hare Krishna. Today we will discuss the glorious pastimes of Sri Mādhavendra Purī and his pure devotional service. There's a beautiful prayer glorifying Mādhavendra Purī which appears in Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, chapter 9, shloka number 10. Jai Shri Mādhavendra Purī Krishna Prema Pura Bhakti Kalpatarura Teno Pratama Ankura. The position of Mādhavendra Purī is beautifully captured in this verse. It says, Jai Shri Mādhavendra Purī, all glories to Shri Mādhavendra Purī, Krishna Prema Pura. He is the storehouse of Krishna Prema, or all mellows of pure devotional service. Then, Bhakti Kalpa Tarura Teno Pratama Ankura. He is the desired tree of loving devotional service. And in him, the seed of bhakti first fructified. Particularly referring to loving devotional service. Devotional service can be performed in two modes. One is in love, one is out of rules and regulations. And one is love and spontaneous. So, Mādhavendra Purī introduced devotional service out of spontaneity. So that credit goes to Srila Mādhavendra Purī. There is another beautiful prayer onto Mādhavendra Purī offered by the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita in the opening words of the Madhyalila Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the 4th chapter, the very first verse. I'll read the verse. It's a very nice offering. Yasmai datum charayan kshira bandam gopinata kshira chorabhido bhut Shri Gopala pradurasir vashasan yat premnatam Mādhavendram natosmi. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Mādhavendra Purī, who was given a pot of sweet rice stolen by Shri Gopinath, celebrated thereafter as Kshira Chora. Being pleased by Mādhavendra Puri's love, Shri Gopal, the deity of Govardhan, appeared to the public vision. So there are two interesting pastimes in reference to which Mādhavendra Purī is being glorified. One is how Lord Gopinath, Lord Krishna, stole one pot of sweet rice for this great devotee, Mādhavendra Purī. Then the other concerns the Lord being impressed by Mādhavendra Puri's love that the deity in Govardhan by name Gopal appeared to be worshipped by Mādhavendra Purī and available for darshan for all the people. So these are the very great acharyas in the reign of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the 20th acharya in the Brahma Madhva Gaudia Sampradaya, coming from Lord Krishna, Lord Brahma, Narada, Vyasa. And Madhvacharya and Mādhavendra Purī is the 20th acharya in the same parampara. Who is this Mādhavendra Purī? Originally, it is described in the Gaura Garuddesha Deepika, the book which reveals the identities of all of the devotees who appeared in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So in that book, it is described Mādhavendra Purī is actually the Kalpavriksha descending from the spiritual world. So he is actually Kalpavriksha, the wish fulfilling tree. Chintamani prakarasu prakarasatmasu kalpavriksha laksha vriteshu surabhi abhipalayantam. As Lord Brahma describes, that the plant of Krishna is filled with Kamadhenu cows called Surabhi, and the entire plant is filled with Kalpavriksha trees. So this Mādhavendra Purī is a Kalpavriksha from Krishna Loka. It's a very, very special personality. He appeared in the 14th century as the Param Guru, or the Grand Spiritual Master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You can just imagine the position of Mādhavendra Purī, who was the Guru of Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself. Lord Chaitanya had extreme respect, awe and reverence towards Mādhavendra Purī. Before the Lord appeared in this world, referring to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord sent his preceptors and make arrangements and preparations for him to descend personally. So before Lord Chaitanya appeared, the Lord sent Jagannath Mishra, his father, Shachi Mata, his mother, Mādhavendra Purī, his Grand Spiritual Master, Ishvara Purī, Lord Chaitanya's Spiritual Master, Advaita Acharya, Lord Nityananda, Paramananda Purī, and all these great devotees before he advented, and make the ground for the Lord to descend and take off from there. Just like before the Prime Minister comes, they are the AIDS D camp. We call it as, in short, ADC. They come, do all the arrangements for the Prime Minister or the President of the country to come for a certain program. Isn't it? Similarly, before the Lord descends, his aides de camp, his personal associates, his very confidential devotees appear in this world and make all the arrangements for the Lord to descend. So Mādhavendra Purī is one of them. In fact, as the prayer described, Mādhavendra Purī, from him the seed of Madhurya Rasa, or serving Krishna in love, intense love, began. So Mādhavendra Purī had two principal disciples, Ishvara Purī and Advaita Acharya. And what was Mādhavendra Puri's connection with the Madhva Sampradaya? Or what was the connection of Gaudiya Sampradaya to Madhvacharya? It is described that Mādhavendra Purī was the disciple of Lakshmipati Tirtha. This Lakshmipati Tirtha is coming in the disciplic succession of Sripad Madhvacharya, who was the disciple of Srila Vyasadeva. So Lakshmipati Tirtha being the spiritual master of Mādhavendra Purī, that gives the link of Mādhavendra Purī belonging to Madhva Sampradaya. And this truth and fact is recorded in Prameya Ratnavali of Sripad Madhvacharya. This book describes the teachings of Madhvacharya, and this fact is also being corroborated by Gopala Guru Goswami, who was none other than a personal servant, a great devotee who did personal service to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than one of the Ashtasakis in Krishna Leela. The Gopala Guru Goswami is supposed to be Tunga Vidya Saki in Krishna Leela. And he personally served Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his pastimes. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to call him as Guru. Actually his name was Makaradhwaja Pandita, but the Lord Chaitanya used to call him as Guru. And he used to call him sweetly as Gopal. So he became known as Gopal Guru. Goswami because he was an Acharya. This is a very nice pastime concerning why he became Guru. We will describe another occasion. Let it be a small surprise for all of you. So this Gopala Guru Goswami, and in Prameya Ratnavali, Srila Mādhavendra Puri's connection with Madhva Sampradaya is being recorded and established. And Mādhavendra Puri is the beginning of the Gaudia Sampradaya from Madhva Sampradaya. Therefore, our Sampradaya is called Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Because from Lord Krishna, this transcendental knowledge of bhakti flowed down to Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma gave it to his son Narada. Narada in turn instructed Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva in turn gave this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavatam, of Lord Krishna, to Srimad Madhvacharya, and down the line to Lakshmipati Tirtha, who is 19th in the Parampara, 19th Acharya in the Parampara, and 20th is Srila Mādhavendra Puri. And 21st is Srila Ishvara Puri, and 22nd is Lord Chaitanya, and 32nd is Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So that's the connection in the Parampara. So from Mādhavendra Puri, the Gaudiya Sampradaya began, because Mādhavendra Puri belonged to West Bengal, and Lakshmipati Tirtha, he initiated Mādhavendra Puri into the line of devotional service. Therefore, the link between Madhva and Gaudiya Sampradaya, between the 19th and 20th Acharya in this Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says Mādhavendra Puri accepted the disciplic succession of Madhvacharya primarily because of one reason, that Sripad Madhvacharya promoted, accepted and introduced the practice of deity worship and accepting the existence of the transcendental form of the Lord. Because till that time, till the time of Sripad Madhvacharya, earlier, before Madhvacharya, the supreme absolute truth was considered impersonal, means nirakar, and ultimately the perfection in spiritual life was considered merging into the Brahman. They only had an impersonal conception of the Supreme Lord, but Sripad Madhvacharya, by his strong preaching, established the divine transcendental Satchidananda form of the Lord, and how the deity is also a Satchidananda manifestation of the Supreme Lord. So therefore Mādhavendra Puri accepted Sripad Madhvacharya's teachings and became a disciple in that parampara. It was Madhvacharya also who for the first time introduced the worship of Radha and Krishna. Till that time, at least in India, overall, Lord Krishna was worshipped alone. You can see even in Udupi, the temple established by Sripad Madhvacharya, Lord Krishna is being worshipped alone. In the Madhva Sampradaya, Generally, the Lord is worshipped alone. But Mādhavendra Purī for the first time introduced the worship of Lord Krishna along with Radharani in the Madhva Sampradaya. They were bringing in quite a big change, so to say. One more revolutionary thing introduced by Mādhavendra Purī was worship of the Lord with love and devotion, then based on rituals. Till the time of Mādhavendra Purī, the Lord was worshipped with a lot of awe and reverence and a lot of rituals, strict rules and regulations. But Mādhavendra Purī introduced for the first time Prema Bhakti, serving the Lord with love and devotion, loving sentiments and devotion. He introduced Prema Bhakti in serving one's Lord. So that was his unique contribution. So this is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, also in Adi Leela, chapter 9, text number 10. It is described that the formal worship or worship of the Lord with rules and regulations, strict rules and regulations concerning deity worship, Vigraha Aradhana, or worship of the form of the Lord with rituals and rules and regulations is for neophyte devotees who have not developed their dormant love for the Lord. Just like all of us, we are all practitioners of bhakti. We are not perfected our bhakti. Therefore, a lot of rules and regulations are required so that we don't make any offenses in the course of worshipping the Lord in the temple. We don't show any kind of disrespect, either with knowledge or without knowledge, consciously or unconsciously, so that we don't make mistake in approaching the Lord, in serving the Lord. These rules and regulations will guard us from what is called as seva aparad. And there are 64 offenses in deity worship, which is explained by Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. You can refer that book. Prabhupada has given an English translation to this book. So there are 64 offenses in serving the deity in the temple. Prabhupada says, Rupa Goswami says, whereas there are only 10 offenses in chanting Krishna's name. So therefore worshipping the deity is even more sensitive and we should be even more careful. Because the Supreme Lord is the Almighty, the owner, the proprietor, the supreme controller of everything that is created in this material world. And He is also the owner and the controller of everything in the spiritual world. Purushottama, Lord Krishna. Approaching Him is a very big subject matter. And we are not qualified. So, in order that we deal with the deity very carefully, these rules and regulations are laid down by the Acharyas. But Mādhavendra Purī for the first time introduced worship of the Lord, service to the Lord with love and devotion, spontaneous love, natural love and devotion. Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, Rasa, He introduced. Particularly serving the Lord in Madhurya Rasa. Great love, like the relationship between the lover and the beloved. So, when this spontaneous, natural love for Krishna develops, then you don't have to worship the Lord with strict rules and regulations. Because there is no question of offense when you have awakened your dormant, pure Krishna consciousness. Now, regarding Mādhavendra Puri's devotion, it's very unique. His standard of devotional service was unparalleled in the history of Vaishnavism. It is described that he was always absorbed in the madness of Krishna Prema. He always chanted loudly the Hare Krishna mantra and the glories of the Lord without any consideration of time and place. For Mādhavendra Purī, he could not recognize the difference between day and night, because all the time, whether it is day or night, he is always absorbed in Krishna Prema, love for Krishna, and chanting Krishna's glories. So he could not discriminate between day and night. Sometimes he laughed, sometimes he jumped out of ecstasy, sometimes he cried, sometimes he would fall on the ground unconscious. 24 hours a day. These are the only states of consciousness in which he lived. And he never had any companion. Because he always wants to be absorbed in Krishna Prema, in glorifying the Lord, in chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Therefore he was always alone, without any company. And also, so that he would not speak anything other than about Krishna and Krishna's glories and Krishna mantra, the Hare Krishna mantra. As far as his eating is concerned, unless somebody offered him some food, some prasad, he would not even bother. That was the standard fixed for his eating. Can you imagine? He was filled with Krishna Prema, and therefore there is no other hunger left in him other than the hunger for Krishna Prema. Another nice reference regarding Mādhavendra Puri's devotion is that even if you would see a blue rain cloud, immediately it will remind him of Krishna, and he would become unconscious and fall to the ground. How much Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu respected and had a very, very high esteem and regard of Mādhavendra Purī is shown in many, many instances. There was one devotee by name Paramananda Puri. Why did Lord Chaitanya love Paramananda Puri? And who is this Paramananda Puri? Actually, this Paramananda Puri is one of the sannyasi disciples of Mādhavendra Puri. Mādhavendra Puri had two very dear sannyasi disciples. One was Ishwara Puri, who was the spiritual master or guru of Lord Chaitanya himself, and one more was Paramananda Puri. These were the two very dear sannyasi disciples of Mādhavendra Puri. Mādhavendra Puri loved them so much. They were so dear to him. And because of that, Paramananda Puri became very dear to Lord Chaitanya. So much so that Lord Chaitanya said, if I am living, it's only because of Paramananda Puri. This is the statement Lord Chaitanya made. He also said, I am living only on account of the excellent behavior of Paramananda Puri. And Chaitanya Prabhu also said, I considered my eyes, my mind, my body, and all my religious activities, and even my accepting of sannyas to have achieved perfection because of approaching Paramananda Puri. Because I had darshan of Paramananda Puri, I consider my entire life perfected and successful. Can you imagine? And this Paramananda Puri is the devotee who gave the sannyasa danda to Lord Chaitanya when Lord Chaitanya accepted sannyas. So who is is this Paramananda Puri? It's the dear disciple of Mādhavendra Puri. And in Krishna Lila, Gaur Ganodesha Deepika describes he is actually Uddhava, the friend and cousin of Lord Krishna in Krishna Lila. The same Uddhava appeared as Paramananda Puri. And therefore Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu loved him so much because of his dearness to Mādhavendra Puri. Then, why did Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who was a worshipper of God, because Lord Chaitanya came as a devotee of the Lord, so he propagated worship of Lord Krishna through the Sankirtana chanting. He promoted worship of Radha and Krishna and Hare Krishna, Sankirtana and Japa. So Vaishnavas are those who accept that ultimately the Lord is a person, but not like you and me. He is a divine person, Sachidananda person, and the supreme person. Not ordinary Jiva, the supreme Jiva, supreme personality of Godhead. So ultimately, the Lord has a divine spiritual form. So those who accept the Lord having a spiritual form are called Vaishnavas. But there are impersonalists who say ultimately the Supreme is impersonal. So that being the case, why did Lord Chaitanya accept Sannyasa Diksha from an impersonalist? Impersonalist is one who ultimately regards the Supreme to be impersonal, not personal. So Keshava Bharati was the sannyasi from whom Lord Chaitanya took sannyasa Diksha. Why did Lord Chaitanya take sannyasa Diksha from Keshava Bharati, who was an impersonalist, who did not realize the personal form of the Lord? The primary reason is because this Keshava Bharati was given sannyasa Diksha by, some say that he received sannyasa Diksha from Mādhavendra Puri. Some say that he took initiation from Mādhavendra Puri. So either he took his first initiation or his sannyasi initiation. Either of the case, he has taken it from Mādhavendra Puri, who was a Param Vaishnava. And therefore Lord Chaitanya accepted sannyasa Diksha from Keshava Bharati, who was blessed by Mādhavendra Puri. Can you imagine? And who is this Keshava Bharati, by the by? It is described again. In Krishna Lila, he was Sandipani Muni, who was the Guru of Lord Krishna. The same Sandipani Muni appeared as Keshava Bharati in Chaitanya Lila to again participate in the Lord's Lila. Actually speaking, the Lord is the original preceptor or the Jagat Guru, original Acharya for everyone. But still, as I described earlier, in one of our earlier classes, Prabhupada explains, the Lord, in order to show all of us the importance of accepting a bona fide Guru to make one's life perfect and go back to Vaikuntha, in order to stress the importance of accepting a bona fide Guru from the parampara of the Lord himself appears and takes Diksha to set a standard, a precedence for all of us. If we want to perfect our spiritual life, we should approach the bona fide parampara. So Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya is a bona fide parampara, Madhvacharya Sampradaya, Mādhavendra Puri Sampradaya, Lord Chaitanya Sampradaya is very bona fide. So we should approach and take Diksha. Then there is 100% guarantee to reach Vaikuntha or the kingdom of God, Krishna. Further, continuing the glory of Mādhavendra Puri, actually his glories are unlimited. Eternally you can go on speaking about this great devotee. Why did Lord Nityananda glorify Mādhavendra Purī? And what was the subject of that glorification? Let's hear that now. Actually, when Lord Nityananda was going for a Tirtha Yatra, going for pilgrimage, visiting all the holy places in India, so he happened to meet Mādhavendra Purī somewhere in the western India. And when Lord Nityananda met Mādhavendra Purī for the first time, Lord Nityananda said, expressed like this. When he saw Mādhavendra Purī, Lord Nityananda goes on, my body became stunned with ecstasy. He became completely still. Similarly, Mādhavendra Purī also, when he saw Lord Nityananda, he forgot himself completely and went into ecstasy. And both Lord Nityananda and Mādhavendra Purī, upon seeing each other, they went into deep spiritual ecstasy and fell unconscious to the ground for quite a period. And after some length of time, they both came to external consciousness, embraced each other and cried, bringing about tears of spiritual ecstasy flowing from their divine lotus eyes. Nityananda Prabhu said about Mādhavendra Purī, today I have received the fruit or the benefit of my Tirtha Yatra by having darshan of Mādhavendra Purī. In seeing the charana, the lotus feet of Mādhavendra Purī, I have received the treasure of my life, Krishna Prema. My life has become blessed because of this. Can you imagine? Nityananda Prabhu, who is Lord Balaram, Sankarshana, the origin of Sankarshan, the origin of Anantasesha, Lord Nityananda, Lord Balaram, he became a disciple of Mādhavendra Purī. Lord Nityananda always considered Mādhavendra Purī as his spiritual master. But Mādhavendra Purī says, although I always regarded Lord Nityananda as my friend and equal to me, but Nitai or Lord Nityananda always treated Mādhavendra Purī as his superior. So actually, Mādhavendra Purī says, I feel extremely blessed and fortunate. Lord Krishna has shown special mercy upon me for giving me a companion like Lord Nityananda. But Lord Nityananda always thought that I am his guru. This is a reference from Bhakti Ratnakara. It is said that Lord Nityananda and Mādhavendra Purī, as much possible, they never came to external consciousness. Because after some time, they both got separated. Lord Nityananda, he set off in the direction of Setubandha in the course of his pilgrimage, and Mādhavendra Purī set off towards the Saraju river, and they didn't meet after that. So having lost contact with the external world, neither of them was aware of their own body. So in order to maintain their life, they remained always in the state of ecstasy, because when they come to external consciousness, they will not continue to remain in separation. This was the kind of state of consciousness which both of them were absorbed in, that one cannot live without the other. Can you imagine Mādhavendra Purī? That the Lord is saying, if I come to external consciousness, I will not live in this body anymore. Therefore, better remain in ecstasy, forgetting the external situation. That I am away from Mādhavendra Purī. If he becomes aware of that reality, the Lord himself will not continue to exist. So this was the kind of love Lord Nityananda Balaram had for Mādhavendra Purī. And this was the kind of love even Mādhavendra Purī in reciprocation had for Lord Nityananda, that he also could not contain his life anymore, if he knows that Lord Nityananda is away from him. So these are extreme states of devotion. Nobody can attain these states of devotion. It is unique and exclusive to Mādhavendra Purī. What a wonderful devotee. Yes. So let us pray onto his lotus feet that we are so fortunate that we are connected with this Sampradaya stemming from Mādhavendra Purī, and getting that seed of devotion fructified in our hearts also. We are so fortunate. Prabhupada is so merciful that carefully carrying that seed of bhakti which was sown in Mādhavendra Puri's heart and is grown into a big tree called the tree of devotional service, in which the seed is Mādhavendra Puri, and then the trunk is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then there are many branches which are all referring to Lord Chaitanya's own associates and disciples and devotees, and Prabhupada is one of those branches. Prabhupada says that in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So we are so fortunate to be belonging to Lord Chaitanya's personal tree of loving devotional service. So we pray onto his lotus feet to get this seed of pure devotion sown in our hearts also, free from karma and jnana, pure bhakti, bhakti in loving devotion, not with rules and regulations, although that is the beginning, not with rituals, but with love. And that is the glory of Mādhavendra Purī and his special devotional features, devotional service. Now regarding how this Mādhavendra Purī was so dear to Krishna, Krishna was so fond of him that he would personally come and give him milk. What is this? Where did this happen? What is the pastime concerning the Lord giving milk to Mādhavendra Purī? That is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela, chapter 4, entitled Sri Mādhavendra Puri's Devotional Service. You can read it in detail. I will cover a very small portion today. Maybe another occasion we can discuss in depth this pastime. This was when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to a village called Remuna in the district of Balasore in the state of Orissa in the 15th century, when Lord Chaitanya visited this place in Orissa, Balasore district, a village called Remuna. He came to a temple where Lord Gopinatha was being worshipped. This Gopinath was very fond of Mādhavendra Purī. Imagine Lord Chaitanya goes to this temple because the Lord is very famous. But this famous Lord is after the famous Mādhavendra Purī. So much he was fond of Mādhavendra Purī that the Lord personally stole sweet rice which was offered to him to be given to Mādhavendra Purī. Lord Chaitanya knew in this temple the deity preparations were exceptional, exceptionally great. The Mahaprasad. And particularly the sweet rice being offered is of exceptional taste. So Lord Chaitanya went to this temple, he knew about this. He wanted to taste that sweet rice, Paravanna. So when he had darshan of Lord Gopinath, and then he came to this temple, had darshan. When he paid obeisances, the garland from the Lord fell straight on Lord Chaitanya's body, and the pujaris were very surprised. And then, knowing Lord Chaitanya's unique devotion, the pujaris served him in various ways. And at that night, Lord Chaitanya wanted to stay to taste that special sweet rice. So the Lord remained there because he was very eager to receive the remnants of sweet rice offered to Gopinath deity. Having heard a narration from his spiritual master, Ishwar Purī, of what had happened once in this very same temple. Actually, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to taste sweet rice even before Lord Chaitanya's time. It was Mādhavendra Purī who also wanted to taste the same sweet rice offered to Lord Gopinath. So Ishwara Purī narrated that pastime of Mādhavendra Purī having sweet rice in the very same village of Remuna. He narrated that pastime to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the deity was widely known as Kshira Chora Gopinath, the Lord who stole Kshira or sweet rice to his dear devotee Mādhavendra Purī. And how the deity became famous because of Mādhavendra Purī. See, generally we see the Bhakta becomes famous because of the Lord's blessings. Here we see the Lord is becoming famous because of the devotee. This is the stature of Mādhavendra Purī. Imagine that because of Mādhavendra Purī, the Lord has become well known and famous as the Lord who stole the sweet for his dear devotee. So, the sequence of events which led to this pastime is narrated by Ishwara Purī, and further Lord Chaitanya explained that to his devotees for the second time when Lord Chaitanya went to have darshan of this Lord in this temple along with his associates. So second time it's being narrated. It's a very long pastime. This was Lord Chaitanya began. Once Mādhavendra Purī travelled to Vrindavan and he came upon the hill named as Govardhan. Govardhan Girirari ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So, when he came to Govardhan, he was in complete ecstasy, seeing the very sight of Govardhan, which Lord Krishna personally lifted with his little finger of his left hand. It is said that because of Lord Krishna touching Govardhan and holding it for 7 days, Govardhan is in complete ecstasy. He is a great devotee of Lord Krishna. Govardhan hill is the best devotee of Lord Krishna. Krishna himself declares that. Among all the devotees, Govardhan is the best devotee. So Govardhan is very, very dear to Lord Krishna. This Govardhan supported a lot of Krishna's pastimes. Many devotees of Krishna enjoyed this Govardhan hill as a sporting ground for Krishna's pastimes. And this Govardhan hill was the source of nourishment for his Krishna's dear cows and calves. and a pastime playground for Lord Krishna, gopis. So this was very dear to Lord Krishna. So Mādhavendra Purī, when he came to Govardhan Hill, he came to one of the ponds by name Govinda Kund. When he came to Govinda Kund, he just rested a while, being tired of the journey undertaken. Those days it was all by foot. He was a little tired, and then he just dozed a little, sitting underneath a tree on the banks of Govinda Kund. So while he was sitting beneath a tree, Gopala Balaka Eka Dugda Bhanda Lana Asiya Gedari Kichu Balila Kasi Hasiya. So while he was sitting underneath a tree, an unknown cowherd boy came with a pot of milk. Eka Dugda Bhanda Lana. He brought a pot of milk. Asiyage Dhari Kichu Balila Hasiya. He placed it before Mādhavendra Purī, smilingly, Hasiya, Kichu Balila, and he addressed Mādhavendra Purī. Puriye dugdalana karatumi pana, magi kene nahi khao, kiba kara dhyana. He said, O Mādhavendra Purī, Purī referred to Mādhavendra Purī, Ei dugdalana, please drink this milk. Karatumi pana, I have brought this for you to drink. Magi kene nahi khao. Why are you not asking for any food to eat? Kiba kara dhyana. What kind of meditation are you performing? Without eating? Without drinking anything? What kind of meditation are you performing? Balakere saundarye puri rahaila santosha, thanara madura vakye kela bhokashosha. Balakere saundaryera puri rahaila santosha. Seeing the beauty of this young, beautiful boy, Mādhavendra Purī became very satisfied, very happy. Haila santosha. Tahara madura vakye gela bhokashosha. Hearing his sweet words, madura vakye gela bhokashosha. He forgot all hunger and thirst. Purī kahe, ke tumi kahan tomara vasa, ke mate janile, ami kari upavasa. He said, Mādhavendra Purī, addressing the young boy. He said, who are you? Where do you reside? Ke tumi kahan tomara vasa, ke mate janile, ami kari upavasa. How do you know I am fasting? Balaka kahe, gopa ami ei gramavasi. The Balak said, Balak said, actually, my name is Gopal, I am a cowherd boy, and I stay in this village. Amara gramete keha na rahe upavasi. In my village, nobody fasts. No one fasts. In my village, anybody can beg food from others and it will be supplied. So some people told me that there is one sannyasi who has come and he has not asked anyone any food. So, hearing them, I personally came because whenever I see anybody hungry and thirsty and not asking anything, I will personally go and supply them with food stuff and cow's milk and drinks to satisfy their thirst and food to satisfy their hunger. The woman who come here to take water from the Govinda Kund saw you and they supplied me with this pot of milk and sent me to you, O saintly person. And then, saying so, he said, please allow me to leave this place because I have to go to milk my cows. I shall return very soon and collect this milk pot from you. But actually the Lord didn't appear after that. So Mādhavendra Purī was surprised. He drank the pot of milk, unaware it was Lord Krishna in the form of this cowherd boy Gopal who personally came to feed him milk. And having taken milk, he dozed a little in the evening. At that time, he had a dream. In that dream, this very same cowherd boy appeared once again. And then he said, "O Mādhavendra Purī, please wake up, please wake up. Please unearth me from the bushes near this kund because of being attacked by some atheist kings. The pujaris had hidden me in the bush below the earth for my safety. And long years passed and I am just waiting and watching every day. When will Mādhavendra Purī come? When will Mādhavendra Purī come? And take me off from the soil and establish me on the top of Govardhan hill and personally begin my worship from his very lotus hands. Inaugurate my worship. And when will Mādhavendra Purī feed me, bathe me and personally worship me? I am longing for this, for your worship, for your offering of your seva. So this brings the story of Gopal of Govardhan. So this very same Gopal, the Gopal cowherd boy who brought the pot of milk, is Lord Krishna. And there was a deity of Gopal also below the earth, as the Lord himself narrated in the dream to Mādhavendra Purī, and requested him to excavate, unearth him from the soil and establish him nicely on the top of Govardhan hill and begin his worship. So this Gopal is the same Gopal who is today worshipped in Nathdwara, Rajasthan. And he is famous as Srinathji. So this Srinathji, who is very famous in Rajasthan, is actually the lifter of Govardhan hill. He is actually Gopal from Vrindavan, whom Mādhavendra Purī established. So, coming back to this pastime, Mādhavendra Puri's dream broke, dream ended. Saying so, Gopal stopped speaking and disappeared. In fact, Gopal even gave directions how to identify and locate him in the thick bushes and how he is hidden carefully. So Mādhavendra Purī woke up the next morning and then shared his dream to the villagers, and with their help, taking axe and all required cutting tools to clear the wild bush and to excavate the deity. Taking Mādhavendra Puri's words very seriously, all the villagers, important villagers, accompanied him, and Mādhavendra Purī personally guided them into the bushes and spotted the place where Gopala is hidden, and for everyone's surprise, they could actually see Lord Gopala in the midst of the bushes below the soil, being hidden from everybody's vision for his own safety. So Mādhavendra Purī personally lifted Gopalji and brought him to Govardhan Hill and placed him on the top of Govardhan Hill and began his worship. And he made elaborate arrangements to worship this Gopala deity. And he brought hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pots of cool water from Govindakund to bathe Lord Gopal. It is said that this Govardhan Hill it is about 25 plus kilometers, between 25-30 kilometers, the walking path. If somebody wants to do parikram, somebody wants to go around Govardhan. So it is said, even if you walk that many kilometers, toward the end, when you come to Govindakund and have even one dip in the cool waters of Govindakund, you will be energized so much materially and spiritually that you can once again perform Govardhan Parikram. So that is the unique feature of the waters in Govindakund. So, Mādhavendra Purī bathed the Lord and adorned the Lord with beautiful, gorgeous dresses and gorgeous jewelry, opulent food, and he inaugurated what is called as Annakuta ceremony. So the history of Annakuta ceremony, which is famous across North India, was actually inaugurated or initiated by Mādhavendra Purī. After which the Annakuta ceremony became very popular across many places. So that is very elaborately described in Chaitanya Charitamrita in the 4th chapter. You can go through that. Then, after that, Mādhavendra Purī trained local Brahmanas to worship the deity. Interestingly, even though these Brahmanas, they were already initiated into Brahminical life, still Mādhavendra Purī once again initiated them by the Vaishnava, by giving them Vaishnava Diksha. Because it is said in the Shastra, unless one accepts Vaishnava Diksha, one cannot worship Lord Vishnu in the temple. Even if you are a Brahmana, you require Vaishnava Diksha to worship the Lord in the temple. Therefore, Mādhavendra Purī, knowing well their Brahmanas, still initiated them in Vaishnavism in order to worship Lord Gopala. So thereby, it is important to note here how Vaishnavas, who are very dear to Vishnu, their position cannot be denigrated. Their position is even superior to Brahmanas, the caste Brahmanas. Lord Vishnu receives service only from his devotees. He is very fond of his devotees. Therefore, one has to become a devotee to worship Vishnu. Even becoming a Brahmana, so to say, is not the qualification to worship the deity of Vishnu. One has to become a devotee of Lord Vishnu and get Vaishnava Diksha from a Vaishnava Acharya. Then Lord Krishna will accept the service from such a Brahmana or a devotee. After establishing the worship of Gopal very gorgeously, and almost 2 years, the worship continued in a very, very grand manner. And the Annakuta ceremony continued for about 2 years. He increased the treasures of Lord Gopal to a vast extent, being very satisfied and having established Brahmanas into the worship of the deity, so that the deity worship will continue even when he is not present. At this point of time, once again, Mādhavendra Purī had a dream. Again, Gopala came for the second time now in Mādhavendra Purī's dream. Totally, Mādhavendra Purī had 3 dreams. In all the dreams, the Lord personally came and expressed what he wanted. See this devotion and this stature of Mādhavendra Purī. Generally, devotees go to Krishna asking something, expressing their wish, so that the Lord will fulfill. See this position here, the status of Mādhavendra Purī. The Lord is coming to Mādhavendra Purī, requesting him to fulfill his desire. See the opposite. We are going to Krishna temple to fulfill our desire. We express our wish. Here the Lord is coming to Mādhavendra Purī to fulfill his wish. So that is Mādhavendra Purī. So second time he came in Mādhavendra Puri's dream. And then he said, my dear Mādhavendra Purī, it's a very sweet Bengali language. This Bengali language is also spoken in Krishna Loka. Sanskrit, Bengali and Brij Bhasha, 3 languages spoken in Goloka Vrindavana or Krishna Loka. So Bengali is a transcendental language. So we don't give any material connections to this Bengali language. It's actually a divine language from the spiritual world, descending from the spiritual world. Same true with Sanskrit and Brij Bhasha. All these 3 languages are descending from Vaikuntha. They are the languages spoken in the spiritual worlds. Very special. And Lord Chaitanya used to speak Sanskrit and Bengali. Gopala kahe Puri amara tapa nahi yaya. Saying to Mādhavendra Purī, Gopal comes once again, my dear Purī, although you have poured hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pots of cold water from Govinda Kund, somehow my temperature has not come down. Still I am feeling a lot of heat in my body. Oh Mādhavendra Purī. It has not decreased. What to do? I am feeling uncomfortable. Malayaja Chandana Lepa Tabe se Judaya. So I think you should go and bring sandalwood from the Malaya province and grind that sandalwood and get that paste and smear that all over my body. Then I think I will become cool. So this Malaya province is on the Western Ghats. Sometimes the hill Nilgiri is also known as Malaya hill. So then the Lord says, you try to get this sandalwood from Jagannath Puri. Malayaja anayana nila chalahaite anyahaite nahe tumi chalahatvarite. Bring sandalwood pulp from Jagannath Puri. Kindly go quickly. Since no one else can do it, only you can do it. So even in Jagannath Puri, there's a lot of sandalwood trees are there, and the Lord wanted sandalwood paste from the trees from Puri, Orissa. So Mādhavendra Purī was very glad with ecstasy that the Lord has personally come to his dream and requested him sandalwood paste, and he started proceeding towards Bengal from Vrindavan. And before leaving, he made all arrangements for Gopala's seva to continue uninterruptedly. Taking the order of Gopala, he started Bengal all alone. A very long journey indeed, from Uttar Pradesh, Mathura to Bengal. Towards Bengal. So on the way, Mādhavendra Purī came to Shantipur, which is near Calcutta, and met Advaita Acharya. That time Advaita Acharya requested him to initiate him in Vaishnavism. He wanted Vaishnava Diksha. So Mādhavendra Purī initiated him, gave him Vaishnava Diksha to Advaita Acharya, and then proceeded for South India. So, coming towards South India, Mādhavendra Purī visited this place called Remuna, where Gopinath is situated. Upon seeing the beauty of the deity, Mādhavendra Purī was overwhelmed. Vishvalamana. In the temple of Gopinath, Mādhavendra Purī, what did he do? Nritya Geeta Kari Jagamohane Vasila. He chanted and danced to his heart's content. Kya kya bhoga lage Brahmane puchila. And then he asked the Brahmin who was engaged in serving the deity, what kinds of food you offer to the deity. Then Mādhavendra Purī understood that the best of foods was offered to this Gopinath deity. Then Mādhavendra Purī thought, I shall inquire from the priest about what foods are offered to Gopinath, so that I can also make similar arrangements for similar such food offerings to my Gopala in Vrindavan. So then the priest explained what all kinds of food they offer to the Gopinath deity. And the Brahmana went on to say, Sandhyaya Bhogalage Shira Amrita Keli Nama Dvadasha Mrit Patre Bhari Amrita Samana. He said, among all the foods, one more food preparation which he went on to say was Amrita Keli, or sweet rice. And that is offered in 12 pots to Gopinath every evening. It was an evening bhog. It is called Amrita Keli because it tastes simply like nectar. Amrita. That is called Amrita Keli. So this sweet rice is celebrated throughout the world as Gopinatha Kshira. It is not offered anywhere else in the world. And while the Brahmana was speaking to Mādhavendra Purī, the sweet rice was placed before the deity for offering. Mādhavendra Purī thought, oh, actually, although he didn't express to the pujari, he thought, if I can also get to taste little this Mahaprasad, I'll get to know how to make a similar preparation for my Lord. He just thought like that. But very soon, he became ashamed. Arey, the Lord is still not eaten. How could I think that I should taste this prasad? So he took it as an offense. Actually, he was thinking not for his own sake. He was thinking of getting the Mahaprasad for the sake of making it for his Lord. So the Acharya is so sensitive. Anyway, keeping that desire only within his mind, not sharing with others, without saying a word, he left the temple. After seeing the Arati performance, after the Bhoga and Arati, he left the place. As I said, if somebody offers him food, he would accept, but otherwise he would not himself beg for any food from anyone. He was just satisfied all the time in being absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna mantra and chanting the glories of the Lord loudly. No hunger and material hunger and thirst would impede his devotional service. He considered himself an offender for having even thought to taste the sweet rice which was offered to the Lord. All the purpose was not to satisfy his thirst, but to cook a similar preparation for his Lord. So he left the temple, went to the marketplace, sat down, and he was all alone, and he began to chant. In the meanwhile, the last arati was over in the temple and the Lord was put to rest. The pujari locked the temple doors and left the temple. Nija Krityakari Pujari Karila Shayana Swapane Thakurasi Bharila Vachana. So Nija Kara Mayaya. He said, this pot of sweet rice is kept just behind my cloth curtain. You did not take notice of that because of my tricks. Amara Mayaya. When you came to take back the bhoga, you didn't realize it was only 11 pots and not 12. And that was my trick upon you, that you didn't recognize that one pot is missing. Madhava Puri Sannyasi Ache Hatete Vasina Tahake Ta Ekshira Shigra Dehalana. He said, there's a sannyasi by name Madhava Puri. Mādhavendra Purī is also called Madhava Puri. Another name of Mādhavendra Puri. Another way of calling Mādhavendra Puri. So there is a sannyasi by name Mādhavendra Puri. Ache Hatete Vasina. Hatete means referring to the marketplace. He is sitting in the marketplace of Yamuna. Please go there and take this pot of sweet rice, which is kept behind me, and Dehalana. Shigra Dehalana. Quickly go to him and deliver him this pot of sweet rice. Awakening from his dream, the Pujari was stunned, surprised. Indeed, he could actually see the pot of sweet rice behind the Lord's curtain. And he again locks the temple and he went to the village with the pot of sweet rice. He called out for Mādhavendra Puri, shouting loudly. Holding the pot of sweet rice in his hand, the priest called out, Kshira Laba Ei Yaranam Mādhava Puri Tomalagi Gopinatha Kshira Kaile Churi. He declared openly, will he, whose name is Mādhavendra Puri, identify himself and come and take this sweet rice, which was stolen by Lord Gopinatha himself? Gopinatha Kshira Kaila Churi. Please come and identify yourself and take this pot of sweet rice, which was stolen by Gopinath for you. And then he said, Tomasama Bhagyavan Nahi Trubhavane. There is no fortunate person like you in all the three worlds. Hearing this invitation, Mādhavendra Puri came out and identified himself, and the priest delivered the pot of sweet rice to him, offered his obeisances, and left the place. So, Mādhavendra Puri was absorbed in deep ecstasy by hearing the sequence of events which led to the Lord stealing the sweet rice for him. So he was very, very pleased and humbled. Prema Dheki Sevaka Kahe Haya Vismita Krishna Ye Inara Vasha Haya Yatochita. Seeing the ecstatic manifestations in Mādhavendra Puri's body, the priest was wonderstruck. He could understand why Krishna had become so obliged to him. And he saw that Krishna's action was befitting. His action in terms of stealing sweet rice, personally for his devotee. What kind of devotee is this? By the mere audience of Mādhavendra Puri, the Pujari can understand the level of devotion, loving devotion which Mādhavendra Puri had for his Lord. So the priest offered his obeisances to Mādhavendra Puri and returned to the temple. Then in ecstasy, Mādhavendra Puri ate the sweet rice and immediately he left the village, taking with him that empty pot also, in memory and in commemoration of the Lord delivering this sweet rice to him. Mādhavendra Puri, recognizing the Lord's grace and mercy upon him, honored the sweet rice, and broke the pot into small pieces and had a small piece of this earthen pot every day till he exhausted even that earthen pot. This was the devotion of Mādhavendra Purī. And very soon, before daybreak, he left the village because he didn't wanted himself to be recognized and glorified as a great devotee of the Lord. So, before people could get to know, he left the village of Remuna and proceeded ahead towards Nilachala, Jagannath Puri. So, this is the pastime of the Lord, stealing sweet rice for his dear devotee Mādhavendra Puri. So, this was his exclusive devotion. I would conclude today with a beautiful teachings of Mādhavendra Puri. There are many important teachings of Mādhavendra Puri. Only one I would describe them today, which will strengthen our devotion also to the Lord. Mugdam mam nigadantu niti nupuna brantam muhurvaidika. So Mādhavendra Puri is praying, actually is instructing us. Let the sharp moralist accuse me of being illusion. Mugdam mam nigadita niti nipuna. So let the sharp moralist accuse me as being illusion. I do not mind. You can see his staunch devotion. Niti nipuna. Brantam niti nipuna. Then Brantam muhurvaidika. Let the experts in Vedic activities slander me as being misled. Mandam bhandava sanchaya jadadiyam. Muktadhara sodara. Let my friends and relatives call me frustrated. My brothers call me a fool. Then unmattam dhanino viveka chatura. Let the mammonists, means different rich people, dhanina, unmattam, let them point me out as being mad. Viveka chatura kamam mahadambikam. And let the viveka chatura, learned philosophers, assert that mahadambikam, I am too proud of myself. Moktum nakshamate manag api mano govinda padaspriham. Let the sharp moralist accuse me as being illusion. I do not mind. Let the experts in Vedic activities, Vedic rituals, slander me as being misled. Let my friends and relatives call me as frustrated. Let my brothers call me a fool. Let the wealthy men, mammonists, point me out as mad. And let the learned philosophers assert me as being too proud and puffed up. Still my mind does not budge an inch from the determination. Still my mind does not budge an inch from the determination. Moktum na kshamate, does not budge. Manag api mano. So still my mind, manag api, my mind does not budge even an inch from the determination to Govinda Padaspriha. Deviate from what? From the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda. Of course, out of all humility, the Acharya is saying, although I am unable to do it. So in other words, this is the kind of determination needed in the service of Lord Vishnu. Whatever the society may think, the people may think, the relatives may think, friends may think, industrialists, educationists, philosophers, whatever they think, still we should not budge an inch from our determination to serve the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, even if we are unable to do so. So that is the instruction by Mādhavendra Puri. So let us pray for this kind of devotion even a iota of this devotion. And let us pray for Prema Bhakti from Sri Mādhavendra Purī. So all glories to Mādhavendra.